He's serious. He's always serious. Does George look like he fucks around?
No. Whoop.
What are you gonna do? Oh, that ain't the move. What?
Oh, what's the joke? I won't do that again. I nearly got out. You're lucky we're not really rolling. Do the floor. You wanna get up? I feel like that was all over.
I have anything but the throw.
Yep. You can do the throw if you want.
You just gotta stay
You
standing.
gotta be athletic enough to not fall over though.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. I got scared. The first one was tough. It scared. I was like this.
No! Daddy, no!
I thought you were gonna hip through and fuck me up.
Yeah,
I was. Hey guys, I'm going to show you guys it's kind of a series on wrestling up using the lapel that I blatantly stole from watching Lucas Lepre back when I was a brown belt. Okay, so to start it off, I need to get Spatchy's lapel open. Okay, Spatchy's a gentleman; he opens it for me. Some people are assholes in jiu-jitsu though, and they don't just do that for me. So then I have to like kind of work to get it out a little bit. So what I'll normally do, okay, is I'll get some kind of grip first. It'll be like a cross collar, it'll be a sleeve, same side collar. It doesn't really matter, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull myself underneath him, and I'm going to go straight to a lasso. Okay, now I'm going to the lasso first because this prevents him from just kind of throwing my legs around to the side while I'm opening up his lapel with my feet or with my hands. Okay, so once I get to the lasso and I get it hooked behind his shoulder and I can kind of pull Spatchy in and square up a little bit, my right foot can now go back and forth between hooking his knee, okay, to prevent him from kind of stepping around to the side and trying to threaten my lasso. Okay, and I can also take this foot and I can do the Keenan Cornelius where I blatantly stick it in my opponent's gi, but then I pull it out before the ref gives me penalties. Okay, so it's legit, all right? You can actually open the lapel like that, you just kind of flick it out. I'm just looking to get as much of this out as possible. I could also be hooking behind his knee and then reaching up and pulling this out myself. Okay, because I want to get this out to the point where I can now use this as a spider guard grip in terms of keeping my hip retention. Okay, so like if I don't have some kind of grip on him, if I go to like put my feet out like this and try to connect to him somewhere, it's easier for me to peel him off to the side, peel him down, throw them across. Okay, if I have like a sleeve grip here, I'm good. If I have this skirt grip here, I'm also good. You see I can lock my elbows into my hip. Now it's very difficult for him to throw me around. Okay. So I wanted to get this out ahead of time. That way when I do go to my position to wrestle up, I'll have it already and I don't have to deal with sitting up and fighting for this from a position where you can maybe jump on a Kimura or try to knee slice me. Okay, so now once I've got this out, a lot of times they grab my lapel at this point, so I'll take my foot, I'll take my heel into his shoulder, and I will peel off this grip, okay, George Valadares style, and then I will circle back in to a spider guard here. Okay, he's going to be trying to do all kinds of stuff, moving around, jumping around, trying to pin my hips down. I'm just keeping my right leg retracted. That way he can't actually pin my frame down or take it up over my head or down to the mat or across. Okay, so this is fine. I could also probe out with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my hips out to the side, use my heel to make him step this leg closer to me by taking this out at an angle. Okay, think of tracing a Disney circle with your heel. Okay, here. Make him do that big step. That way he can bring this leg closer to me. Now I can push his other leg away and turn his angle. And now I can put a really brutal De La Riva hook in. Okay. Now, at this point, I may just sit all the way up and get attached to him. Okay, if I'm going to sit all the way up, it'll look like this here and get this lapel fed. Okay, that would be getting to skip some steps. I assume my opponent's going to be just a little tougher than that. He's not going to make that easy. But just to talk about that real quick, when I do go to do stuff like that, I'm going to make sure I move this out of the way. Because if I go to sit up and he just pushes me back down, I feel like an idiot, okay? Not that I'm the smartest person ever, but I know I don't want to just get shoved back into the mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and kind of like a duck under, I'm just going to flick it out and get my head underneath it as I sit up. And this arm's going to come around, hit just right around the knee line. Okay, I'm going to reach deep, close it off, feed the lapel to my own hand, okay? And now I can start to play. All right. Now, if I didn't feel comfortable just sitting up like that, I would go de la Hiva. I would let go of his sleeve and I would grab his pants first. Okay. Grab the pants instead of the ankle, because the ankle he could knee slice me from, the ankle he could turn and kick out away from me with. Okay. The pants grip is just easier to hold on to as long as your de la Hiva hook pressure is good. Okay. So I can keep my knee turned in on his knee and prevent him from turning his knee out. Okay. Now I can push him away, stretch out his frame, sit up at the same time, reach over my leg, and get the lapel fit. Okay, so now we have this nice complicated series that's going to involve a lot of conditional stuff, like if then, like if he does this, then I'm going to do this in response. Okay, but the first thing I would say is take this lapel, okay, and actually turn it so that the rest of the skirt goes underneath his body. Okay, now the reason why you do this, like I could grab down lower like this so he can't grab lower than me, but I don't like how it doesn't give me as much control over his shoulder. I like to feed this really deep, but the problem is if he can ever reach lower than my hand, he can peel this up at the angle of my fingers open, and if he's really strong, which Smashy, you know, he is, then he could break my grip, okay? Thanks. But if I take this and I turn it underneath him, he's got to reach underneath his own body to grab it, then peel it out. And this gives me a big window to start to chase his sleeve around. Okay, anytime he's compromising the shoulder by reaching under his body is a time that I could just catch his sleeve or catch his wrist, and then I can start thinking about bumping him off towards that side where I now control his post. Okay, so this is gonna give us really easy takedowns. Now, most of this position is gonna be revolving around staying sat up to my opponent and chasing this sleeve. Okay, now if my core is really, really strong, okay, I'm doing Rocky kind of highlights, or I'm sitting up with 100 pounds on my chest, I should be able to sit up like this, okay? Realistically though, I eat so much Panda Express that it's amazing I can sit up at all. So he can just push me down onto my back using his knee, okay? So I stay sat up to him by taking this foot and putting it kind of just over top of his knee, using a combination of like toe pressure down or heel pressure up to prevent him from just like popping this off in 1 second. If my foot's on his knee and he tries to push me down, I can stretch his frame out, and it actually makes it easier for me to feed this deeper. So I feel like if he did try to push me down and I kept that up, I can take this deeper and then I can start chasing his sleeve. But you notice I don't end up just flat on my back, okay? So I'm forcing him into this position where he has to deal with this foot either by stepping backwards, okay? In which case I'm going to immediately initiate a wrestle up, okay? So I come back. We'll start with that one first. So if Spatchy tried to step back like that, he's going to take a lot of tension off of my legs, okay? He's not able to push into me. His frame's a little compromised. So before he puts that foot back on the ground, as it's in the air, I see him step. I'm just going to lean forward, okay? I'm going to take my right hand and put it in front of me on the mat because I want it to be a load-bearing hand, okay? My left leg is going to spin out to the behind me because I'm going to get up on my left leg and my right hand. Okay, and then my right foot is going to hook, or sorry, my right knee is going to hook just around his shin line here, okay? And I don't pause when I do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lean forward, and I'm going to scoop my hips backwards. I'm going to stand up with his leg by backing away from him, okay? I don't go into him because if I tried to go into him, his hips are above my chest level. So if I lean forward like this, he'll be able to knock me over. Sometimes you try to come up forward into the guy, and you even get up, and then he hips into you, and he really knocks you down, and then things can get kind of funky, okay? So it's just like a quick scoop, pick it up, and now we can start finishing our takedowns from here. Okay, so that's my opponent just kind of giving me a bad reaction by stepping backwards, okay? Now, if he's smart enough to know not to step backwards, what he'll do is he'll try to come down and address my foot. Either he'll try to pull it up, okay, which is what I would actually recommend they do, because it's a little harder for me to deal with, or they'll try to push it down, which is what most people try to do, because pushing is a lot stronger muscle than pulling, okay? So the more stable I can keep my foot, the longer I have to try to grab his sleeve or his wrist while he tries to push this off. Okay, so like if my foot's really lazy, he just pushes it off, I didn't have a lot of time to reach over and grab this, I'll probably miss it, I'll have to like go without it, okay? Now, if I'm really stable or he's really weak, I buy myself maybe an extra second, a second and a half, which is long enough for me to reach over and grab his sleeve, okay? Now, if I'm really just more stable than him and I can grab his sleeve and then strip his grip off, he's fucked. Okay, this is game over. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to stretch his leg out. I'm gonna pull the sleeve and I'm gonna start to lean to my right, okay? And the deeper I have this lapel fed, the more it's gonna make him fall over. And this is just, you just kind of stretch them out until they start to fall, okay? And if they're really, really athletic and you're running into problems, like they can step really far with their other hand or their foot, catch their balance, what I'll do is while he's posting, I'll take my left foot from a De La Hiva hook to a shin hook, and then I'll start to scoop that through like this. Now I can start to sit up and chase his back, okay? Which if he just sits here like this, he's fucked, because now I'm on his hips, I'm gonna chase his back easy. Okay, most people realize they've kind of just fucked themselves by letting me get behind them like this. So they'll just sit through and they'll turn into me. And then I'll come up on the takedown, okay? So now we have that little back and forth play going on. But this is also just assuming that I can keep my foot stable long enough that I can strip his grip off when he's trying to push my foot down. Okay, that's not always the case against better opponents. Sometimes they're able to push it off really quickly. You should be ready to get something out of this though. Okay, like especially guys that grab your pants, they're gonna stay connected to you a lot longer. So what I'm gonna do is when my foot comes off, okay, I'm gonna reach over and just try to get anything I can in this grip. Even if it's just a wrist grip like this, or I'll try to get a sleeve grip, but this is like I really have time to think about it. The sleeve grip is better, it's just harder to get. Okay, so he pops my foot off. I'm not gonna fight to put it back up unless I feel like I'll really win that fight. Okay, but if he gets enough pressure to push my foot off, I'll go with the momentum underneath his body and I'll spin it so it's on the other side of his hip like this. Okay, so not directly under his tailbone, but off to the side on this thigh right here because I want to bump him off at an angle. Okay, I'll take his arm underneath with the grip. Okay, and now both my legs are going to straighten. I'm going to go onto my back and I'm going to use an authoritative kind of push bump, okay, to get him to post off onto the far side. I don't really want him to post over my head because he's got some weight on me to keep me kind of flat. Okay, if I can bump him off to the side a little bit, you see now I've got this angle I can start to wrestle up from. Okay, now depending on how well I kept his sleeve, sometimes you bump them so hard that they just fall over. And that's amazing because you just come up and take it free 2 points. All right. Again, the more athletic they are, the easier it is for them to catch themselves with their far hand. Go ahead, peel it off. Okay, so because I have his left arm trapped, he has to post with his right arm. Okay, and don't forget I still have this lapel fed under his arm. So what I can do here, okay, is I can let go of the sleeve, I can reach across, and I can post behind his shoulder like this, okay? And you can post different ways. I can post with like a backwards wide grip where I just block this. I can post where I grab the fabric and I push him away on the outside, or maybe on the inside with my fist. The whole point is this prevents him from turning back into me once I start coming up, so he can't whizzer me and he can't hit over and push me down. Okay, so once I've got him posted out like this, now I can really roll onto my knees here. Okay, you see his first reaction is he wants to turn back into me. If I didn't post this, go ahead. We're gonna turn into this dogfight, okay, which I can win, but that's not really, I don't want to deal with Lucas Lepre from this position, okay, who I stole most of this from. So him to here, okay, this is one of the only times I will actually wrestle forward because his weight is so offset onto his hands and I can get my hips and my chest above his hips, okay. So when he tries to push back into me, I can keep going forward and I can actually get him to turn over, okay. And if he's a fucking athletic asshole who jumps to his feet from here, go ahead, just like be an asshole, okay. We keep this grip on the lapel, okay. And as long as he can't break my grip or kick over my head, he really kind of can't get away. Okay, and I can take this and keep feeding it deeper. And now what I really like to do is go back and chase their sleeve from here, because the fucked up throws you can do from this position, they're just wrong, and they should almost be illegal. They're so powerful. You ready?
Yeah.
He said he was ready. I asked permission. Okay, so you can put him down pretty hard, and then just make sure you stabilize your position. Okay. So that's kind of the wrestling up in a nutshell. Okay, there's different variations you can run into when you get to about here and here. Okay, and he's like pushing your sleeve up. Sometimes I miss the sleeve entirely, like I go to get it, I miss it, I'm still gonna follow through, and I'm still gonna try to bump up off over the side, and I'm gonna try to post behind his sleeve. Sometimes it's out of reach though, and sometimes I don't feel comfortable turning and wrestling up, which for the record, if you felt like you could just turn and wrestle up from here before he could really pressure you, it's like I got up to a bullfight, dog fight, whatever, before he was able to pressure me, I would just try to take him down from here. Start knee tapping him, supermaning him, whatever I need to do to put him down, okay? But if I didn't feel safe there, what I would do is I would keep offsetting his weight, okay? And I will take my left foot sometimes, and I'll put it behind his hips. I'll use my right foot as a butterfly hook behind his ass, and I'm gonna keep kind of moving him off to the side. Now, you can get variations like what Spatchy almost just did. If he tries to backstep you here,
That's what I was gonna do.
go ahead, do it. You just push his leg through, and as you can see, this is now a back chase. Okay, most of the time they will dump themselves into your lap. Okay, what's going on there is I'm just making sure his knee line gets pushed through my hip line. Okay, this is a very common reaction against guys that they know if they let you get too far into the takedown series, they're screwed. So it's like you'll get maybe about here, and you can see he's already trying to backstep. I invert underneath him, okay, like this far butterfly hook over here is really preventing him from getting his hips on the ground, and that's going to make it easier for me to turn him. All I have to do is just take any hand or both of my knees and push his knee line past my hip line. Okay, now I can pull him into my lap, and there's my back chase. And if things ever go really fucking wrong on a back chase, he's turning into me, I'm losing it, I always turn them into leg drags, and I come on top and get my 2 points anyways. So, it's a little tutorial on kind of chasing the takedown from the sleeve, or from the lapel grip. Okay, a lot of it's involving the sleeves. I've actually got a whole instructional coming out, no-gi wrestling up in positions like this and various other positions, so stay tuned, that might come out next month. So.
Perfect.
Everyone, thanks, Spatchy.